Oh, we wait for the people to arrive. All right. Waiting on the other member to arrive. How are you guys? They all watched the games yesterday? Quite a boring game for the first 80 minutes for me. And then suddenly turned so interesting after 18 minutes. Your Primeval Planet holder, please remember to register for the coming pre-release. It's Friday. Do you know? Let's see the name of the other dude. Not yet. Let's wait. Take a look at the EME questions, see if anyone asks really something interesting over there. Wait a bit more and see if we can get more people in. Monday nights. Ooh, we got some rangers from the other side visiting. Oh, let's see Johnson. Let's pull him up. Hi there, Johnson. Can you hear me?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, loud and clear.
Good. Sorry, man. The technical difficulties. Sometimes these verification and the expired links. I was literally in the place where I was trying to join the voice, but then like the channel just seems to be not responding somehow.
Yeah, it's quite messy over here. It can get rather annoying. But yeah, well, glad you're here to join us. I think we're about to begin. I think I just announced the channel. There should still be some more people joining here and there. Would you want to begin, or do you want to wait a little bit?
I'm happy to begin. We're already a few minutes late, so I'm really sorry about this.
It's all cool. All right then. Well, without further ado, let us begin this. So, welcome to the Apeiron and E4C AMA. I'm happy to invite the founder and CEO of the Ambush Studio here with us to tell us a bit more about himself and his project. Now, Johnson, without further ado, I'll just hand you the stage. Again, hope you can give us a brief introduction of yourself and E4C to the community here, in case any of you haven't heard of E4C yet.
Absolutely. So my name is Johnson. I'm the founder and CEO for Embrace Studio. So our marquee games called E4C Final Salvation. That's the main project that we're working on. So a little bit of introduction for myself. I spent most of my career as a management consultant in McKinsey, and I left in 2013 and started career in the World Economic Forum as the head of the Circular Economy Initiative there, where I was really pursuing my passion for climate change. And then that really took a drastic turn when I joined Riot Games in 2015. I first joined as the head of esports for China, and then that began a 5-year crazy journey where I was able to take League of Legends esports to become China's largest sport. Our revenue also grew like crazy over those years. It was really the peak years for League of Legends in China and globally. So we broadcast 5 billion hours every year for our esport content. That's more than local soccer league, more than basketball, and even more than NBA. As a result, I've got promoted all the way to become the Asia CEO for Riot, where I oversaw all the publishing esport for the region. And I also look after all of our co-development games with Tencent. I was also on the League of Legends product executive committee. So that was really, really fun ride. And I left 3 years ago, started my own environment-related business before getting to know about Web3 at the end of last year, and decided that, hey, this is the path. This is where I can make a lot of impact. And I decided to start a Web3 studio, Embrace Studio. So that's a very quick introduction of myself.
Oh, that's very interesting. So how did you start in environmental protection to Riot? That process is huge. Are you into games, or what caused you to go over there?
So I have a few passions in life. Climate change is one of them. Gaming is another one of them. And then I've always been, someone who wanted to do entrepreneurship. I was mainly doing climate change, sustainability related stuff in McKinsey. So when I left, that was like a natural path for me to go to an international organization. But I was actually like a semi-pro gamer when I was young. So I was number 2 in StarCraft in Taiwan. I got to number 1 on MSN Gaming Zone ladder for Age of Empires 1. And then I was on the national team for Magic the Gathering back then. So it was a very, very fun journey back then. And then when Riot extended the offer for me to join them, I'm like, wow, I never thought about working in gaming. But hey, that combines my passion. So maybe it's not a bad idea to try.
Holy crap. We share some similarities. I was a BA in McKinsey in Chicago after I graduated. And then I also played StarCraft. Also gone into top 50. I've gone into top 2 though. But exciting.
Wow, it's like we need a deathmatch sometime.
Holy crap, yeah. I recently hosted a StarCraft 1 tournament in Korea with Pro Gamer Down. It was crazy, but I don't think I can compare with them anymore. Those guys are too quick.
For sure, I can. I'm 42 now.
Holy crap. Wow. I'm 38. Well, nice meeting you. And, I retyped some of the questions out there because I just half fanboying over here because learning that you're from Riot and would love to learn a bit more. So, were there any interesting stories during your tenure in Riot and League of Legends? And what was it like witnessing the rise of Honor of Kings and Arena of Valor in Asia after the Tencent thing? Always interested to know what's happening over there and what it was like. Did you take part in it?
Wow. First of all, that's a huge question. There are too many things in that question. Answer the second part first. So what happened to Honor of Kings and Arena of Valor? Actually, no, we know that this is going to be a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
But we essentially, Riot at that time was not ready for mobile games. The majority of the people were thinking that, we care about player experience first, and then mobile experience for gaming is not up to par yet. So, despite my constant effort, it was really, really hard. But I did do a couple of things. So, in 2016, I started an initiative together with my close colleague to push for setting up the project Wild Rift, which is League of Legends on mobile. After 1 year, we were finally successful, and we started the project in 2017 to produce Wild Rift. So that was one thing. The other was that we did realize that Tencent as our parent company was literally copying League of Legends. So I was also the one who negotiated with Tencent on their quote unquote copyright invasion. And then I was the one who settled that case with a massive contract for us. So that was extremely interesting. But for sure I had many, many more interesting stories. So let me now I'll jump to the first part of the question then. Among the many, many fun stories, I'll tell this one. This was back in 2015. 2015, I was head of esport, but actually Riot had no control of esport in China. It was run by Tencent. We were negotiating. Tencent was like, so why do you want to take over? We're doing pretty well, and we're your publisher. We're like, hey, you know what? Esport was never on the contract. No one even knew what esport was. So, we want to negotiate a new contract to govern our esport relationship. They're like, all right, let's negotiate. And then, it was a long, tough negotiation, 6 months. But I wasn't just going to negotiate, right? I had to do something. So one of the low-hanging fruit we found at that time is that LPL, which is the League of Legends Chinese League, was only on Tencent channels. While we realized that most of the players on platform like Douyu and Huya, which is like the Twitch equivalent. So we're like, I decided that we're gonna go multi-channel. Give our content to everyone so that we can grow our volume first. Tencent obviously very against it, and I decided that despite that we're negotiating, I actually just gathered all the top platforms in China, told them that Riot is selling them this rights for esports next year, despite that I don't even control the league. And then invited the Tencent team to come if they want. And Tencent is obviously mad, but then they're like, holy shit, do we get on the car or not? I mean, this Riot crazy guy just, decided to sell our rights. Do we join the meeting? And they did. So at the end, I pulled a really risky move. The Tencent guys were there. We sold the rights for LPL to everyone. So that started the crazy growth journey for LPL over the next few years. As we got on multiple platforms, our viewership grew by about 30 times over the next few years, and that started like the astronomical growth. So that was a very, really, really risky move that I pulled. I just called, I called the Tencent guys, hey, if you don't come, I'm still going to sell it. So you might as well come and support me. And they did.
Wow, ballsy. Holy crap. Well, so you witnessed and experienced all this growth, especially in China, the esports industry. Today's even esports is even in one of the China's main government goals and roadmaps. It's incredible. But then you left Riot, and then you went back to yours. Well, part of your passion being in environmental industries, but then you went back to mobile and to start this business. So it was quite going back to the roots sort of thing. I'm not sure if it is, or is it really more combining your passions and everything, especially talking about environmental sustainability and on the blockchain. Well, it's no longer that much of a problem now, but what I really want to ask is, so what made you come back and into Web3? Were there any critical problems that you saw when you left for the mobile or the esports industry, and now that you are coming with E4C and Amber Studio, has you found a key sort of or a direction that you really think can create a new trend for the entire esports industry or the mobile industry now that you're here?
So the honest answer is that I was quite naive when I left Riot.
Hmm.
My goal was to make the world a better place on the climate change issue. I felt like I've gathered so much resources, experience that I can make it work, even in the industry that I wasn't familiar with. So I started a business in the hardware industry. That actually did okay. It's actually a profitable company, but I was not nearly getting to the scale that I want to. And I
Hmm.
realized that, well, I got to stick to my intrinsic strength. And then, one of the initiatives that I ran while I was running the environment hardware company was something called the Circular Challenge, where, everyone, every day for 1 week, just do something good for the environment. Like, for example, for your Uber Eats, never use disposable utensils again, donate your
Hmm.
old clothes, eat vegetarian today, blah, 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 like that.
Hmm.
We were actually really impactful, and then a few hundred people followed us, and then was completed the mission. But I'm like, man, if I had the game and I used mission system of my game to tell people what to do and educate them, and let alone what if I use the lore to tell people the dire consequences of climate change? How much impact would that bring if I have a huge game like League of Legends? So that's what got me started, and then I
Oh.
witnessed Web3 brings a huge opportunity for startup in the gaming industry. Otherwise, gaming is very, very hard to start to do a startup on. Because there's so many problems. It's very hard to get funding. VCs are very risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
You have to complete your product, then get the next round's funding. Like Web3 solves so many things of that, and they harness the power of the community. NFTs has so many advantages, versus traditional skins. I'm like, this is the key. So I decided to start Ember Studio at the end of last year when I realized the beauty of Web3.
Mm. Well, can I say that the E force, the E in E force stands for environment or esports or both?
It stands for Earth 4 degrees Celsius. So,
Holy crap! This.
yeah. So, we are on track to have our Earth temperature rise by 4 degrees by the end of the century. Do you know
Mm.
the dire consequences of that? No,
No,
actually,
I don't
very,
know. Would
very.
love to dwell a little detour into that too. Actually.
Yeah, sure. Essentially, a large area will be underwater. Food supply will decrease by about 40%. A very big portion of the northern hemisphere will be desertized, and people will be forced to move north. No, this is
Wow.
actually very, very negative and dire consequences, but very few people know about it. So I decided that I have to educate the world on the dire consequences of 4 degrees Celsius rise.
Wow. That is actually very interesting. How far away from it are we? Are we from the traditional Celsius degrees to now? Um, for the
Uh,
so how many degrees is that on average?
Versus pre-industrial times, we're reaching 2 degrees very soon, and then the next
Oh.
all the way up to like 2.5, 3 degrees is almost inevitable, because greenhouse gas stays in the
Uh-huh.
atmosphere for hundreds of years, depending on which greenhouse gas.
I
But
see.
4 degrees can still be averted if we take collective action today,
Mm.
and then focuses on make like reducing our carbon footprint while investing on like carbon capture and stuff. So it's difficult, but it has a chance to work if we really take action.
Wow. Sounds noble. And this is probably one of the most noble goals I've ever heard from a game project. And well, would love to help support this initiative. and put some environmental quests in our quests in the future as well. But yes, this is incredible. I've definitely learned a lot. Didn't really got to all this when I read the Medium articles, learning about Force. So yeah, well, got 3 more questions, and then we can jump to the community questions. Usually, I like to save a bit more time for the community so you can learn, so they can learn a bit more about your project and yourself. So the third question is pretty standard. The fourth question is pretty standard. It's how does E4C plan to compete against the more established giants in the mobile industry in terms of user base, the franchising elements, and the ability to scale? How does E4C tend to compete?
First of all, we think that there's no real competition in the Web3 industry, because we are, like the scale that we want to get to is much larger than any games out there. So let's not really talk about, the current Web3 games because very few of them is play for fun. They're, mainly play to earn games. So, let's talk about how we can compete with the Web2 industry.
Yes.
Which is a much taller task. At the end of the day, right? First of all, it's about whether the gameplay loop is fun. Second is about whether the game is designed in a player-friendly way. And 3 is that, whether there is, very little barrier for them to get in. And then last but not least, whether there is a smart go-to-market strategy that is not too costly. And we believe that we've gotten a great mix of all of the above. So
Airdrop Promoter 2 said anyone.
Essentially, we are working on the mobile MOBA. MOBA is a very crowded industry, but it's dominated by Big Four, Honor of Kings, Valor, MLBB, and Wild Rift on the mobile side. But none of them has been successful in US and Europe. Neither are they successful in the rest of low-tier emerging markets. So we decided that this is actually a great space for us. If we can design a game that is fun, that's quicker, that's more mobile native, shorter and faster, and tailored to the player needs in these areas, we have a chance to literally open up a blue ocean in a very highly competitive MOBA genre space. So that's what we decided to do, and Web3 provides a lot of the soil for that. For example, the power of our community. For example, a more entrepreneurial friendly environment, and for example, blockchain and NFT technology allows us to provide verified, unique NFTs that's tradable, that we can add metadata to it to make them unique with emotional attachment. That's what we think is so powerful. So, at the end of the day, we think that this is how we can compete with the Web2 games. It needs to be more fun. It needs to be in the right place at the right time. And then it needs to have no barrier for them to get in.
That is great. A great answer. I actually learned a lot from the way you answer questions. So much more clearer than usually how I do it. But, the next question, I think you answered the bulk of it. I originally wanted to ask, what you foresee the evolution of MOBA and esports will be in the coming years? But I think you've probably answered quite a lot of it. How do you foresee the esports teams' evolutions is actually what I want to ask. Will E4C be working with any esports teams coming up? Or how do you foresee the esports industry and the esports teams industry will evolve in the coming years?
Yeah, very good question. So first of all, we will for sure will be working with the top esports teams in the Web2 industry. We, like as part of our marketing effort, when our game is launching, we'll definitely be hosting a large esport tournament where a lot of the traditional powerhouses will be attending, and that will be a very, very cheap way for us to get a lot of volume, and then a lot of PR, which is great for our and then a lot of user flow, which is great for our publishing. So that's for sure something we're going to do. And then as our game becomes more popular, then we are obviously going to be starting, first with cup tournaments and eventually regular season leagues, where we will continue to work with these top esport teams throughout the world. So that's definitely something we're going to do. As for the evolution of the esport industry itself, I think it will continue to grow. It is a very desired form of entertainment that the young generation is looking for. And as long as people are spending time on it and enjoys the time, then esport will continue to grow. So will the esport teams. I think esport teams is still in a phase where they're trying to improve on their monetization potential, but eventually it's going to catch up, right? Look at, for example, the revenue per fan or per user for traditional sport versus esport. There is at least a 5 times growth potential there. So I am highly gung-ho, highly positive on the future of esport, whether it's for the league or the players. But it just needs to be the right games, right? The right games can only the right games will be able to win. It is a very, very competitive industry.
Awesome. Well, one last question before we go on to the community questions. It's sort of a personal question, and actually, I remember you mentioned that after you got into Web3 seeing the community, you were quite impressed as well. So, last question is, so you were in Riot all these years. You must have seen the gaming community over at LOL. How does it compare with the Web3 community you face nowadays in the E4C environment or overall Web3 gaming communities that you see? Are there any interesting differences you see?
A few. First of all, in Web2, almost no one runs a community before they launch. Web3 has this great habit where people are very active beforehand, which is great because we get to harness the power of community. They can give us comments, give us feedback, vote on key game development topics, co-create content for us, refer a friend, and then ask their friend to join us. So these are really powerful. I would say they are almost like our ambassadors, which Web2 games don't do. But I mean, the community is very different, right? I mean, Web2 or my community in League of Legends is very hardcore, loves playing the game, loves watching the game. Their behavior is very much driven by their passion and love to play or watch, versus the Web3 community in large is still here because they want to earn, they want to they hope that their action will be rewarded for for something, which is not wrong by itself. We really aspire this aspect, right? But we realize that we need to be able to get community members who can really be aligned with us in the long run, in order for them to have more value for the community. So, we're trying to find that balance, but, we definitely enjoy the part where our community is so active and they're really working very hard, very closely together in our development process.
Oh, it's great answers, and I really have to copy a few of them next time I do an AMA. But well, definitely learned a lot. Thank you for your time, and let's move on to the community questions. If you guys would like to ask questions, feel free to raise your hand. But there's also, if you, Johnson, if you look one channel above the stage, there's the AMA questions. I pinned a message where our community asks. You can feel free to scroll through them and see if there's any that caught your attention you want to answer. Well, let's take a look at the audience and see if there's any live questions out there. I see Yaldo airdrop had his hand raised all the way since the beginning. I'm not sure if he pressed the wrong button or anything, but let me see if I can get Yaldo up here to ask his question. Yaldo, are you here? Nope. Maybe it's Legacy. Back. Johnson, feel free to take a look at the EME questions and mark down any ones you would like to answer later, as I try to find someone to speak from the audience. Our audience, our user base here is mostly from Southeast Asia, China, and some from the States, but most of them are probably asleep right now, or maybe early in the morning. They are typically a bit more shy, so they prefer typing most of their questions in English. They're perfectly capable of typing and reading and writing, but sometimes they're a bit shy when it comes to speaking on the stage. So let's see, I still see some hands. Oh, we got one. Legacy, hi.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, good
Hi, morning.
afternoon. Actually, afternoon here in Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria. Oh,
Nice.
I would like to say thank you for actually the AME. This is my first time attending an AMA, sorry. So I'm a bit nervous, please.
oh, good. Glad to.
Okay. Um, this is my first time knowing the full meaning of E4C. Like, it's really a cool name. It's 4
Yes.
degrees Celsius. So I'm a little bit interested in the consequences of the rise in 4 degrees Celsius about the Earth. Like he mentioned, large portion of the Earth will be underwater and
Mm-hmm.
40% food shortage. So I kind of missed the third one, please. So I don't know if you can um help out repeat the third one. And also, I'm also more interested in how the E4C intends to compete with Web2 games, because he was kind of fast in explaining all those. So I don't know if you can repeat it, please.
Oh, sure.
Um,
So, yeah. Well, Johnson, so you can just repeat the dangers of the 4 degrees and also the the advantages of the competitive nature. Well, how to compete against the Web2 giants is.
yep. The third thing is desertization, and there's many more. But I think that desertization will be one of the most difficult ones for us to face. Essentially, our entire biosphere and then the current food chain will be disrupted, and very few people can correctly estimate the impact of the butterfly effect that it's going to bring. But what we are almost sure of is that if we get to 4 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial times, um, you know, I mean, I don't want to put a percentage, but it's going to be like, every about 50% of northern hemisphere below Paris will be desertized. That means that
Heck?
yeah,
Oh,
so people are talking about like wine, right? And then the Bordeaux, Burgundy temperatures changing every year. Yeah, you know what? These places will not be able to produce any grapes in 80 years if we continue to heat up like this. Um, and then the best arable land will be in Siberia and northern Canada. People will have to move north. Below Paris. In the northern hemisphere, there will only be swaths of cities that people can still have a livable environment. So it will be very difficult. So yeah, I mean, let me pause here, and then I can go into the second part if to see if you want to say anything.
oh. I have a lot I would like to ask, but I can ask those in the chat groups. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah, and then as to how we can compete with the Web2 games. you at the end of the day, you need to be more fun. That's the key aspect of it. And then we think we found an opportunity where the current mobile MOBAs are all PC direct ports. They don't really take care of what mobile players need, which is more casual, shorter experience, faster, and then the control needs to be more mobile native and easier. But it can be more strategic. So that's all the direction we're putting E4C versus like Honor of Kings, for example, right? It's shorter, faster, more intense, less micro control, more strategy, just as player centric, free to play like always, and then we make sure there's no barrier to entry for everyone, and then we make sure that this is very mobile natively designed. So that's how we compete with the current Web2 giants.
Oh, incredible! A new perspective and answering something new. Always a big plus in my book.
Always want to bring something new, even if it's the same question. I can always go deeper.
Wonderful. All right, Legacy, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Legacy, and thank you, Jonathan, for answering that. Let's see if there's any question in the AMA questions channel that you would like to answer, Johnson, before we move on to the next audience question. I saw another hand earlier. Oh, yeah, Prem. But let's see if Johnson can find any questions in the channel up above.
There's so many of them. So,
yeah, they love to answer multiple questions in one.
Okay, so I'll just answer the first question I see. How do you handle the bots farming and destroying the entire ecosystem? I think the anti-cheat system is really, really important, especially in competitive games. And then if you think about all the games with all the cheat, first-person shooting is for sure one of the most prevalent. Riot actually has come up with a very good proprietary system to prevent that and it's deployed in Valorant. So, Valorant, despite being such a big game, with so much traffic and so much skill involved, it has very, very little incident on let's say bots and then just cheating scripts. So we plan to deploy something similar to that system as well, so that we can prevent all the cheats that happen in competitive gaming.
Cool. We hosted a Valorant tournament recently, and I'm a super big Counter-Strike fan, so I really had fun watching that. And also talked to Talon recently, and they really, really liked the Valorant model where they worked on the skins and merchandises with the esports teams. The customizability is really great. So yeah, well, lots to learn from this new esports franchise. All right. Let's take a look at Prem. Prem had his hand raised. Let's invite him to speak. We got 2 questions down so far. I think we have 6 more to go. It's on a pure reward basis. Hi, Prem. Would you like to speak? Yeah. We pressed the wrong button. Well, let's move on to other questions on the AMA questions channel, if you see any, Johnson.
Sure.
Take your time.
Yep. So I'll answer this question. Can we upgrade our NFTs to get more stats in game? The simple answer is no. We don't sell stats. We sell aesthetics. So it's like all the free to play but not pay for power games. You realize that if we sell stats, then the paying users will always be eliminating the non-paying users, which makes the game churn out over time, because there will always be people who pay more than others. So we specifically decided that we're not a play to earn game, and we don't sell stats, which means that the only thing we sell is skins, which is clothing. I mean, think about it this way. An average League of Legends player spend about 25 hours per month in the game. And, even if you go out on the street, you want to look nice, right? Let alone something you spend so many hours on. You want to look good in front of your friends, in front of your opponent, even your girlfriend. So you want to buy clothing. So that's what we sell. So our NFTs will give you, for example, skin upgrades. Will give you DGC, which is our in-game utility token. Now we will have many, many functions. But one thing we do not sell is stats in-game.
Agreed.
All right,
So
let's move on to the next question.
All right. Well, feel free to pick. I'll take and see if anyone from the audience would like to ask something. So far, so good. See any questions you like from the AMA questions? Take your time.
Yeah. So, let me answer. That's ask the question. From clearly a Southeast Asia League of Legends fan. And the question is about how to attract the attention from gamers all over the world to get into MOBA. Just look at what League of Legends was able to do in China, and rest of the world in Honor of Kings. At the end of the day, one observation I've seen is that the line between genres are dimming. The social aspect of games is strengthening. What does that mean? That means that, for example, whoever is playing Honor of Kings right now, 5 years ago, they probably don't play MOBA. They don't even know what MOBA is, but they are, more or less, they know how to play like more hardcore games. And then when everyone is playing MOBA, Honor of Kings, League of Legends, then it's pretty easy for them to convert and join us. So, to me, it's about having a fun game. Then it's not really about how to use MOBA to attract other genres. It is about how you can roll the snowball to a degree where your friends are playing, the people that you care about. I can be in the one market, right? In one segment, but in that segment, I want people, a decent portion of people to be playing. And then this snowball can get larger and larger. And what we are able to do in the past with my team, with Riot, is that, we are able to build a community using the game, using our publishing, using esport to roll the snowball and grow League of Legends esport to become China's largest sport. So we really want to replicate that success and to be able to roll the snowball again and make our game like the talk on the street, the social game that everyone can get into. So that's our goal.
May I ask if that person that you answered was Jenkos, or was it another user?
The person who asked the question is called Tay20.
Oh, JT. Okay, sorry. There we go. Okay. Pulling up. Oh, JT is from Thailand.
Nice.
Oh. They actually love esports and mobile over there.
Yeah, and I see so many more questions. I'm like, and the question gets longer and longer.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, wow.
You can try to pick the one. You can try to pick and they like to ask multiple questions. I usually end up answering for 3 hours if I try to answer every one of them or more. But yeah, these guys are all very very the community here are all very passionate about gaming and Web3, and they do ask a lot of questions. But yeah, this is a very fun crowd. That is very hard to find in today's markets, and yeah, you'll have fun talking to them. Just that
Sure.
they do ask a lot.
Yeah. So let me pick one more question to answer. That's like one of the longest questions. So let me,
Nice.
I just want to thank him for writing such a long question. It is yes, 3 questions, but I'll try to answer each of them.
Cool.
So our investors, they are focused on the price of our token, but we have naturally selected our investors. We told them that we are not a play-to-earn game. We're not going to see instant price appreciation. But if the fundamental is strong, then our token price will appreciate. And they understand that, which means that those investors who invested in us has also decided to take a relatively long-term stance, and also then as a result, long-term vesting that we gave them. So the vesting terms is what pretty much forces our investors to be aligned with us in the long run. So at the end of the day, these investors believe that our game, E4C Final Salvation, have a chance to become the next League of Legends. And that's why they're investing in us and supporting us. And then, but we do have short-term goals. We can't just work on something, next year, right? Final Salvation is launching at end of next year. We'll have a lot of projects, a lot of things going on. Just chronologically, we're launching a mini game called E4C Fallen Arena on Steam in a few days, specifically I think on 23rd. Our studio is going through our anniversary campaign on 24th of December. We're doing our free mint, which is why you got free mint whitelist in about 2 weeks. So 3 weeks actually. So in early January. And then our investor-ready version of we plan to finish our prototype of our game by end of January, and then we're going to take let's say just I would say like a slice of our game. That's the best way to call it, and we're going to publish that in one market and as a closed beta in March next year. So we actually have many milestones. We're action filled, but then we have a lot of things going on. And then if you follow us, you will probably see that we're one of the most diligent Web3 gaming projects out there, and hopefully you'll like all the milestones for us. So I'll stop here. For the questions.
No, thank you. And let's see how many questions do we have in right now. We have 5 questions in right now. And just a quick note for you guys. For those of you who attended the EMA, our Born of E4C channel is on right now. And it's up top on our channel list. You can get your Pawn of Stone mark there. Remember to exchange for the Christmas mark, should you guys like. Let me take a look if there's any live questions out there. Not really. Yet. Alright. Well, I see one of them asked us for roadmap updates. So other than so what's in Q1 after the mints or the Q2? What should we be expecting after the mints?
So actually, I sort of answered that in the previous part. We are launching slice of our game by March next year, and then we're going to a more open beta by end of first half, and then the entire complete game Final Salvation will be going open beta, closed beta in the second half of next year. With the goal of publishing open beta by end of next year. So that's all the things that we're working on right now. And it is pretty action filled.
Wow. We'll have to play that game when I get the time. All right. I guess we got time for 2 more questions to get the rewards. Let's see if there's any live questions. Nope. Would you like to pick another 2 questions from the AMA channel?
Of course. Always happy to do so. I'll pick a simpler question. So when can we start playing the game? Final Salvation is by end of next year. We plan to have 25 champions when we launch. And then the slice of our game, we call that project a Lightning War. Lightning War is going to be ready, as I said, March. And then when we launch in March, we won't have a lot of champions. We'll probably have about 12 champions ready for you to play with, which is already a decent amount to be starting as a close beta.
Definitely. I see this. Oh, and this last pretty interesting question. He say he's been a fan of LPL for many years and have seen you many times in the award ceremonies.
Nice,
and
nice.
and he says, well, he knows the E4C NFT reward mechanism is somewhat similar to the champion skin shared in LOL competitions. And it's a different idea. Whether it's possible for the project party to issue exclusive team badges NFTs for multiple teams. Badge NFT holders can participate in team. Let me mark this question down and see if you can help answer that. The bottom, attacked it. See if you can. Oh, okay.
Do you have it marked? I mean, I can just answer it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I saw the question. It was actually from way early, like earlier today. Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's quite a few of them.
Yes, exactly. Well, I missed it. But yes, so it is very possible for Project Party to issue exclusive team items for different teams. Because at the end of the day, right? Unlike, for example, football, where no one really owns football. Yes, you can say that the International Football Association owns it, but that they don't. It is still a global thing, right? Versus like the game, we own it, and then the esport ecosystem is built by us. Which means that there will always be ways for us to monetize the NFTs/skins there. I mean, for example, right? Everyone probably here, most of you watched the awesome World Cup finals between Argentina and France yesterday, and there's so many different epic moments. Some of these epic moments, the rights will belong to the league, others belong to the teams individually. But like the NFT rights will make sure that the league manages it. And then if there is common emotional attachment, which means that if there are billions of people watching the game, then the unique experiences will be worth a lot of money. That is what for example, NBA Top Shot has proven. So what we're doing, right, is building something similar to that. We want to build an esport ecosystem that a lot of people is watching at the same time. And then because they watch it, then we'll be able to have, let's say, great price for it, and then they will be valuable, and we create value as a result. So we definitely plan to monetize out of our esports system, and we think it as our key differentiator, because of the esports system that we create. So this is a great question.
Yeah, from a fan. I also tagged one question because this question is something that I have in mind as well. It's by Rainbee, and it says a lot of MOBAs are plagued by issues such as smurfing, trolls. But I think he's trying to talk about the smurfs, the trolls, and the sniping, especially when there's supposed to be a win to earn or sort of esports elements there. Is there going to be a win to earn element in terms of the game in the future?
So the simple answer is yes, but only very much in the esport format.
Okay.
So we will not have, for example, my team and I debated a long time whether we should reward season rank holders, let's say top 200 or top 1,000, whatever. It can be tiered, unique NFTs. And we decided no. Why? Because, League of Legends, for example, right, it's already so toxic at the very top with all the things that you talked about, right? Sniping, acting, like people just, like play, not really playing for the fun of it. We don't want that. We want people to be competitive. And the way to do it then is to have various esport tournaments where, if it's a cup tournament, yes, there will be, bad actors, but it's easier to catch. And then we'll make sure we run scripts around it so we can catch them. But, we don't want our regular, normal or ranked game environment to be affected by it. At the end of the day, we want our players to be playing for fun and playing for mastery. not for money. It's been proven that if you play for money, which is what happened in Diablo 3, the entire incentive changes, and then people are actually, it ruins the game. So we don't want to repeat that problem.
Great and very interesting take.
Yeah,
All right.
I must say we are very, very unique in the way we think about many things. We have no clue whether we're right or not, but at least we try to be very, very different.
I think that's already grounds enough to experiment with something new, especially in the coming year when a lot of the focus will be taken away from the financial aspects of crypto and gaming. And as we explore these paths, there'll be definitely community members and gamers who will gather around to further pivot. Well, 17.5 people in the audience, and these guys joined pretty late. So I think we have all 8 questions down, the 7 from the AMA questions and 1 more from Legacy. So we got the 8 rewards. Do you want to stay a little more and answer any questions you would like to see, or would you like to give us a few parting words of advice before calling it a night, Johnson?
Well, let me do this. Let me take 2 minutes to see what are, for all the questions before the AMA. Whoever has written the most, I'll answer that question.
Sure. I can go check the pinned message to see all the questions from before, but the longest one.
There's a lot of them. I'm like, wow, it's going to be, it's going to be hard. I don't think it's going to be possible for me to scan through everything.
Lex has a pretty long one.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pick the random one from Heart of the Card from December 11th.
Right.
So our demo, what are the rules and conditions for accessing the demo, and what for the best players, what is the best way to get it? First of all, stay tuned to our community. So if you stay tuned to our community, you'll definitely be able to see what we have. We are going to be limiting many of our closed beta to our community only. We're not going to broadcast it out. It is a benefit that we want to give to our community for them to get earlier access and then to be able to provide feedback to our game. So that is something that we want our players to have. And then essentially what we launch, we are going to be on multiple platforms. We are going to be on Android and iOS market, although depending on the market, iOS may not be needed, but for sure we're going to be on Android market. We'll probably allow APK downloads as well, so there will be many ways to access our game. At the end of the day, our principle is that we want to make sure access is not a problem for our game. Cool. I guess it's almost time. Let me close with just some parting words, and then we can wrap up the evening.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, this has been actually really fun, just to talk to someone from very similar background as me, McKinsey, huge gamer, now in Web3. I actually really enjoyed this chat and really enjoyed this community. Many might be wondering, like, why doing climate change in such a awkward way, right? I mean, gaming and climate change, does it really relate to each other? What I would say is that this world needs disruptive changes. On the climate change issue, we've tried the approach of business as usual forever. Pretty much since Kyoto Accord, 25 years ago. And what happened? Almost none. So I decided that we got to be creative here. And one of the best ways, right, is think about what are industries or communities that have not really contributed to a climate change issue that can. And like, why don't I combine my passion in climate change and gaming into one? if I have a community with a lot of players, there's so many things that we can do with it. This is hence why I decided to start Amber Studio. So I really hope that you can, feel this passion, and then you'll be happy to join our community and drive this mission with me. For the better of the world and also for the better of the gamer community, right? Gamer communities have always suffered from the fact that, parents, the society don't like us to play games. Let's do something impactful together and prove to the world that gamers can do something good for the world too. So that's my parting words.
Oh, that's actually very inspiring. And, Apeiron holds multiple holders events in real life. As degenerate as it is, most of us usually host all-you-can-drink parties. But I think it would be actually very interesting if we can host real-life events where we mobilize our community members to do something environmental. We had one such member previously from the Philippines who wanted to organize this, but there were some government papers or something in the process that led to this unable to grow to fruition. I think going forward, maybe we can try organize a physical events, across community physical events where we have E4C holders and Apeiron holders do something environmental. Actually, I used to do a lot of social work when I was young in high school. I would love to do something like that in the future, and it would definitely be quite interesting. And Apeiron actually has a lot of environmental elements in it as well. So I'll definitely talk to your team and see if we can organize something like that. Start small, but make it fun. And, well, finally, thank you for your time, Johnson, and really looking forward to your game on the 23rd. And we're coincidentally, our pre-release version of our battle is also coming up on 23rd. We'll most likely want to exchange the logins with you upon that day to test the games myself as well. Well, thank you for your time, Johnson. And thank you, everyone, all you dudes out there, for showing up. It's been a while since I see a lot of you, but having hosted quite several AMAs, haven't actually hosted a lot. I usually am the one who's talking. This is actually one of the few ones that I think you can learn a lot from, not just by the project itself, its goals and visions, but the way Johnson carried himself and vocalized his ideas and structured his answers is actually all great lessons with which you all can really learn from. Truly, someone who's been years in McKinsey would know that I only been there for like 3 years, but I've always admired most of the most senior staff's their ability to sum up ideas like that. Really brought me back to, well, that's almost 20 years ago. But, well, thank you for your time, Johnson, and I certainly hope those who came late will look into the AME archives and learn what Johnson said, going beyond gaming, beyond monetization and business models, and into something even about the environments. Wow. Thank you, Johnson, and Merry Christmas, and good luck out there, and see you again soon.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Have a great day, and really enjoy our conversation. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.